Hello and welcome to On the Corner, the official podcast of pitchlist.com. I'm your host, Eric Samulski, joined on this lovely Memorial Day by Nick Pollack. Nick, how you doing? Happy Memorial Day.
What is happening? Today was a holiday?
Yes. You're joking me, right?
I mean, I know it's a holiday, but like, I don't have a holiday. I gotta get the list done.
As my wife always says, sports doesn't sleep. And she says it sarcastically, but also sports doesn't sleep. And so,
No, it really doesn't.
today had to get some work in, but also had a good day with the family. Bright sunny day out today, a lot of park time. So it was a good one.
Gorgeous day.
Gorgeous. It was gorgeous. But it was a good one. You got the list up. It is night. We're doing this at night. I'm sorry if we didn't get this out to you before you guys set your lineups. I know some of you are very vocal about that, and we try, but sometimes life gets in the way. We had a great time last week at the meetup after we mentioned that on the podcast. And so for those of you who were able to make it, it was super cool. Nice to meet everybody. Nice to chat baseball, watch the end of that Yankee game where it got a little interesting. Needed the Luke Weaver 1-out save. It was fun. And, hopefully we get a chance to do it again and more people can come and hang out.
Absolutely. Good to meet Chris and Zeb and James and everybody just coming by is just a great time. John, Andrea, Brian. Oh gosh, I missed one person. I really hope I didn't. Aaron came out. Eric Samulski was there. If you guys didn't know, it was great.
Was there? Yeah.
And Big Lloyd, he got into fantasy baseball this year because of us. Oh man, we made big help. I don't know when Bubba Chandler is going to be up. And my gosh, I will get on the phone after this. Yes, we'll figure this out, guys, soon.
We will tell them. We'll get on the horn with the Pirates and we will let them know.
I'll call my people.
Another thing that happened this Memorial Day weekend. I don't know, if you're too plugged in to the movies, but Mission Impossible came out. It was the final reckoning. Apparently it's the final.
Which is it's a reckoning though.
We'll see.
How can it be a final one? It's a reckoning.
But Ethan Hunt has many reckonings. This is the final reckoning.
Reckonings are supposed to be final.
And there is literally a character in the movie who says it'll be a final reckoning. And I was like, there it is. But anyway, in honor of that movie, which is good and entertaining and well worth your time, and you should go check it out. We're gonna name this list is all named after, we're gonna just say action heroes.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it a little vague for you. Action heroes.
Yeah.
Can be from TV, movies, whatever you choose. But each tier is gonna be named after an action hero, a la Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. And I will say, kooky dude. He's a kooky dude, but respect the fact that this man does all of his stunts, and the stunts in this movie in particular are wild. And the fact that it's him doing it, and they film it intentionally so that it's him doing it. And in fact, like I was reading an interview, like one of the early shots of the movie, you're like, man, his haircut is ugly. It is like a mullet. It's long. I don't know why his hair looks like this. And then you get in the final shot, or one of the final things where he's like hanging on a plane, and you're like, oh, that's why his hair is ugly. So you can actually see his hair moving in the shot, and you're like, yep, that's really him.
Oh, I get it now. Yep.
And it is a
we are not sponsored by Paramount Pictures. Pictures, unfortunately.
We're not. In fact,
and we have a different list today.
I'm a Peacock employee.
Because here's what's exciting, guys. Eric has not actually seen the list yet.
I haven't. And you told me I wasn't allowed to.
There are maybe 2 rankings that he might go, what? When he sees. And I'm already ready for people to just be upset at me or just yell at me. And so, you know what? I try to explain them both. Eric has looked past tier 1. So what is tier 1 and what are we doing here today, Eric?
Well, I was trying to talk because Andrea told me to talk, but that's fine. Whatever, Nick. I don't need to talk. Tier 1. Starts with number 1, Tarek Skubal. Number 2, Zach Wheeler. Number 3, Paul Skeens. Number 4, Jacob deGrom. Number 5, Garrett Crochet. And number 6, Max Fried. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
What is it? So we're going to do action films, right? And or
action heroes.
Action heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to say I'm going to go with Aragorn. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is an action hero. Okay.
Sure.
Aragorn in Lord of the Rings is just like the most stable. You just know it's going to work. Good guy all throughout. Not one of those like, oh, you don't really know if I'm a good guy or not kind of people. Like, you know, he's got you completely. And that is tier 1.
I could tell that you're not an anti-hero kind of guy.
I mean, I actually really love his movies. That's fine. But that's not tier 1. We're not going for that.
Fair. I sent you a tweet today that one of the Red Sox beat writers sent out. Interestingly, leadoff hitters are 6 out of 12 against Garrett Crochet on the season, including today's leadoff home run to Jackson Chourio, because basically Garrett Crochet has flat out said and said today after the game, yeah, I'm just going to keep throwing a first pitch fastball.
Now, what is it? You're talking about the very first one of the game.
Very first pitch of the game. So 6 of 12 on the very first pitch.
Okay, so that means that there are 12 times the guys have not only swung but made contact on the first pitch of the game.
I guess so. That would be the implication of the stat, unless the stat is basically like he's thrown 12 first pitches of a game. And
now I would think that this is his 12th start.
Mm-hmm.
Then 6 times the first pitch of the game has resulted. I don't know. But it's something to think about with it, because if you're swinging on the first pitch of a ball game and making contact, that's generally because it's a really good pitch to hit, rather.
Yes.
Right? Like, I mean, think of Nick Pivetta against Ronald Acuna. That was just the meatiest of meat of a pitch. Like, oh, welcome back. Oh, hi, I'm Nick Pivetta. I'm just such a big fan, Acuna. Here you go. You know that Pivetta didn't allow another run the entire game. He essentially pitched 6 shutout, except for that first pitch of the game. But yeah, with Garrett Crochet, he's still down half a foot in extension, and the 4-seamer is not as good, especially against lefties. My gosh! But the cutter has stepped up, the sweeper has stepped up, the sinker has stepped up, so it's masking it a bit. But I am still weirded out that Garrett Crochet is having that lower extension. But fine. I mean, he's just doing so well. I'm like, yeah, okay, he's tier 1.
Yeah.
I'm still selling him for a first or second round hitter, because no one thinks of this as a sell high kind of thing, which is exactly what it should be. That's what a real sell high is.
Right.
When everyone just thinks that he is that thing. So great. See this red flag and act on it.
I still have tons of faith in Andrew Bailey. I believe that he is a very good pitching coach, but I think that the regression with like Brian Bayo, Tanner Houck, now there's some issues with Crochet, and Crochet's surface level results have been great. Nobody's saying he hasn't been good, but there are just some like eyebrow raising, like, why is he doing that this year? And that doesn't make me doubt Andrew Bailey as a talented pitching coach, but it is just interesting that a lot of the Red Sox pitchers have jumped kind of like in the minor leagues and are not taking that next step in the big leagues. So something to keep an eye on. Tier number 2 starts with number 7, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Number 8, Joe Ryan. Number 9, Brian Woo. Number 10, Logan Webb. Number 11, Nathan Eovaldi. And number 12, Chris Sale. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
You know, I'm going to say it's Rocky. Okay. So I know, I mean, you can say Rocky's an action film.
For sure. It doesn't have to be war.
Yeah, right.
It's action.
But it's more of like, these aren't the tier 1 guys, but they win. You know, like they are still like, it's still Rocky. He's still a really good boxer, but it's always crafted like he's the underdog or something.
And even when they lose, they win.
You know,
even when they lose, they win. Like Rocky, that first one. You know? Come on. Another great start for Yamamoto tonight. 1.97 ERA on the year for Yamamoto.
Yeah, I felt really weird not putting him in the top tier, but then I realized, oh right, the Dodgers are likely to baby him in some fashion, and also it's just kind of strange that he doesn't dominate with his 4-seamer. He gets called strikes on it. It just still weirds me out a little. And I feel with the other guys where it's just like, yeah, you can't, whatever kind of pitchers, Yamamoto is a little bit more like, okay, I gotta, you know, I'm not going to just overwhelm my hitter.
I might be like shoehorning this in, but I do think it's relevant. But I was at the Mets-Dodgers game this weekend, and I spoke to Ben Kasparius. And I talked to Ben Kasparius about the movement profile on his 4-seam fastball. New arm angle for him this year, gained a lot of IVB, has a pretty flat fastball. And I basically just said to him, like, the shape of your fastball indicates that it would be a successful pitch up in the zone. Is that something that like you are aware of when you're throwing it, and you are like actively trying to get up in the zone, but you want to show it other places? Like, do you also know, hey, this fastball shape isn't up in the zone shape. And he said basically that the way their pitching team does things is they use location based on matchup. So it wouldn't be like, hey, my fastball works up in the zone. It's who are the hitters I'm facing? Where do they like to hit the ball? Where should I attack? And if my four-seam fastball is good up in the zone, but these hitters struggle with low fastballs, then they are basically told the attack plan based on the hitter.
I know.
I
know. So I hear this sometimes, and I mean, I'm not saying that. Look, I'm not saying like, oh, I know better than Dodgers. In no way am I going to sit here and say that. I have heard from organizations and players some things like, well, the slugging on that pitch isn't very good over here, or I'm going to lean to this over there. And the things that I've actually had these conversations, and I hope have at least like explored it a bit in a positive way for them, where either the slugging is too small of a sample size and also isn't utilized in the way the PLV is of understanding what was the pitch that they saw and what kind of sequence that makes them good or bad at that pitch in that place. And is it my fastball or so? I think that was actually like a quote from, maybe it was Lance Lynn. Someone was talking to Eno Saris and saying, yeah, but that's not my slider or something like that. And the way I think about it is, yes, they aren't good at this certain pitch in that place. However, you know, to be a really good pitcher, I feel in the majors, you have to work to your strengths more than the batters first. You have to get your strengths down first, and then the batter's weaknesses. And I think there are a lot of times that pitchers have to do, you know, like that. They get asked to pitch out of their comfort zone, and you know, that weight of what is more important can be lost. But I mean, here I'm saying all this, and Yamamoto has a sub-2 ERA.
Right.
Van Casparis has been effective. Right. All that kind of stuff. So it's like, this makes sense. It's I think there's, you know, it's nuance a lot to it.
Yeah. And it's pitcher specific, it's pitch specific. It's a lot of that, but I think it's interesting. But yeah, you're obviously not upset if you had Yamamoto, and maybe they'll baby him and maybe they won't, because maybe they don't have the luxury. And if he's healthy, maybe they'll let him go 150 or 160 or whatever it is. Who knows?
You know, by the way, I want to mention Dave Thompson put something in the comments. I couldn't believe it, and I had to actually check. How did Jacob deGrom have 0 strikeouts today? He sat 96, 97 and had 0 strikeouts over 5.1 innings. We're going to talk about that in the roundup. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't watch this one, so I can't. I don't have an answer to you right now. But I will certainly watch it later, because that is now super intriguing.
Just swinging at everything is probably what happened, and then they just put the ball play so much. Three whiffs. Didn't even like get the 2 strike counts a ton. But man,
3 whiffs total on the day. Yeah. 2 on the fastball, strange. 1 on the slider.
That is strange, and really 1 on the slider is the weirdest one, because he located that thing beautifully.
Yeah, there's nothing in the movement profile that's like, oh, or the velocity that's like, this was an issue.
And the thing is also the fastball, it's X damage, which by the way is X Woba, but just with spray angle, so it's just more accurate. So think of like an X Woba, but like really good. 0.164, like really weak contact on that fastball. So it's not like they're hitting it well. I don't know. Anyway, I have no idea, Dave Thompson. I don't know. We'll talk about it on the roundup.
I will say,
with the Dodgers doing Yamamoto, it's an interesting thing. One day, maybe we'll get him to actually throw a high 4-seamer zone, really get riffs on it, because my gosh, you're giving them so many opportunities. I don't care if the slugging is so low. If they're hitting it in play when they shouldn't be, you're giving them a chance.
Yeah.
That's how I feel long term, but he's killing it. So don't listen to me, guys.
I will say one quick thing on DeGrom. Part of the reason why I was like big on Addison Barger as a hitter for the Blue Jays was so many of their hitters are contact first.
Sure.
Bichette and Kirk and Ernie Clement and guys like that. It's like contact first over Vlad Jr. is a big contact hitter, but contact first over power, in the sense that, like, yeah, maybe there were guys that were going up against DeGrom and they were just trying to get the ball in play. And it didn't matter if they drove it or not. They just wanted to put the ball in play. And some of those guys, it plays to their strengths. Who knows? We'll watch the start and we'll see. Tier number 3 starts with number 13, Pablo Lopez. Number 14, Hunter Green. Number 15, Hunter Brown. I just love that they're both pretty good, and you can keep them basically back-to-back all the time. Number 16, Carlos Rodon. Number 17, Jesus Luzardo. Number 18, Spencer Strider. And number 19, Robbie Ray. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
This one is this is the Keanu Reeves Neo tier.
Okay.
Because they're dodging bullets and they've been told that they're the one. But this is like he's figuring it out. You know, he's not quite there yet. Still first movie, like 60% of the way through.
I really like that explanation. Just hats off to you. It was well done. That was really well done. I got to ask about Strider. Just any concerns at all?
I mean, he's at 18. He's underneath.
Yeah, but I mean, like, is this ringing alarm bells, or is this?
I mean, it is the same way that we're not going to do it after one game back from the hamstring injury.
But is this okay? Let me rephrase that.
Yes.
Is this anything different than what you expected? Because we had talked preseason about the command would probably be inconsistent.
Yes, but the fastball velocity is down, and that also affects the slider velocity. And what happens is part of the reason why you see these 2-pitch guys like Hunter Green and Spencer Strider and Jared Jones have such an effective 2-pitch mix is because of the four-seamer, not necessarily the slider, because when you're gearing up for 97, 98, it is harder to make the right adjustment for the slower slider. I mean, it's not much of a shock. You throw harder, it's going to be more difficult. Now you bring that 97, 98, and you bring it to 95, and that means that the adjustment is much more diminished for sliders against Spencer Strider, and it's going to be an easier time. So I'm really, really focused on that four-seamer velocity. If Strider is not going to be 96 plus, if he's going to be 95 and whatnot, he needs another pitch because it's not a famously hard slider. It's not like a 90 mile per hour one.
Right.
It's always been like 86 or so. And now it's like 83, 84. And no, wait, hold on. We need something else to get through this. When we said before, whatever, change-ups, shmame-ups, you know, no one said it like that. But it wasn't really an important thing, and now it might be. So I'm just, we got to see where he's going to be. I mean, it might take a start or two for us to really feel solidified with that.
There's this like weird voice in the back of my head that I'm trying not to listen to with Hunter Brown, where it's like Hunter Brown has had many good 15 game stretches before. And then
wait, so you're not on the Hunter Brown train?
No. I am on the Hunter Brown train, but not in the Eno sense of like, I do not believe he's a top 10 pitcher. I think somewhere around 20 in the top 20 feels entirely valid right now. And I will also admit, as I just said, I'm trying not to listen to the voice in my head. I think that some of it is just a little bit of like old PTSD of like, as I said, coming into the year, I have seen this guy tinker with his pitch mix, with his arsenal time and time again, even when things are going well. And that I wasn't sure that he knew what type of pitcher he was, who he was,
well, that's the thing. I still don't
what his identity was. Right.
Hunter Brown, what's his best secondary?
And so there is when I see a start like his last start, where the velocity was down 1 mile to 1.5 miles on everything. I don't think it was injury related. Those type of variances happen all the time.
Stuff, whatever you
want. And maybe that was also he just wasn't feeling good, and that maybe that also impacted the command. But the command of his pitches was not great. He wasn't really getting whiffs. It was kind of like the four-seam fastball wasn't really dominant. He couldn't get whiffs on the change of the curve, and then you're kind of like, is this going to make him start to like tinker with things again? And then when you tinker with things, does then that lead to this stretch where like there's this run of 6 starts that are just bad for some reason? And I'm not saying that is the case. I want to make it clear. I'm not saying Hunter Brown is going to go on a stretch of 5 or 6 bad starts here. I'm going to say that I've seen that movie before. And so I'm in the theater right now watching the first scene and being like, is this where we're going with this? And I hope we don't. But I've seen it happen, and I until I can see him rectify it, and that's why I'm late to the party, and I get it. And hopefully it's not the case. Hopefully he just bounces right back.
Well, right. Hunter Brown, it's so funny. I've had so many random conversations about he's really good. He's amazing. You don't love him enough. What's wrong with you? And I have him at 15. I'm like, fine, I get it. He's doing as well as he is. I was more convinced when he was throwing 97, and now he's down to 96. And I will say the first inning against I think it was the White Sox, And it's like, well, all right, whatever. And then he was great after that. So fine. But Hunter Brown to me just weirds me out because he does not have a really good secondary pitch. He has pitches he can generally throw enough strikes with, and that's fine. So then you say, great, that means he must have an amazing four-seamer and sinker. And I don't really think he does. Like, his four-seamer is good. Like, it's obviously above average, but it's not like that, who am I thinking of? It's not like a DeGrom four-seamer, or even Garrett Crochet's is still better, I think, than Hunter Brown's is right now. It's like none of it is just, oh my gosh, no, that thing from Hunter Brown is amazing. He's like a better version or harder throwing version of Chris Bassett.
I was wondering if that was going to be the name that popped up.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. And it's just, that's good, but is that like a top 10 pitcher? No, Zach Wheeler has his fastballs and everything that makes it work for him, right? You have Max Fried with much, I think, better control of everything. I think his command of everything. I don't think the way that he manages at bats is much more believable than Hunter Brown does, right? He's actually probably the best comparison I can really think of, because when you point at Max Fried, you don't say like, oh my gosh, this thing. You got to watch this thing that he does, right? But that's tier 1 elite command. One of like the 5 stages of command to me, that's the best one. I don't think Hunter Brown is that. So it's always this weird thing, but I'm just like, yeah, he keeps succeeding ever since that terrible, oh my gosh, the worst start that so deserved to go wrong against the Royals. He's just been a stud since. So fine, here you are at 15, but it's more understandable with Carlos Rodon. It's more understandable with Jesus Luzardo, and it's interesting.
It wouldn't surprise me if in a little bit it's like Rodon, Strider, Ray are all above Hunter Brown.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either.
I kind of feel like he's in that
and I hope it doesn't, but it wouldn't shock me either.
And Robbie Ray was good again on Sunday.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Oh man, remember those pitchforks, guys? I still got them in my closet. I picked them all up off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. We're gonna finally get outside of the top 20.
Yeah,
but we're gonna do that after this break. No time limit at nights, so guys. So we are rambling a little bit, but we're gonna rein it in. But here we go. Tier number 4 starts with number 20, Dylan Cease. Number 21, Freddie Peralta. Number 22, Framber Valdez. Number 23, Spencer Schwellenbach. Number 24, Chris Bubich. And number 25, Mackenzie Gore.
I'm sorry, I'm just thrown back by like what that was. Like you're the Knicks fans.
I've been watching a lot of playoff basketball. Nick.
Eric, how did that Halliburton shot go in?
I don't know. Because I don't know. Voodoo magic, Jim Irsay tweeting "Go Pacers" on the day that he passed away. I don't really know. Just random universe things. Like it just was wild. Yeah.
Wow. It was the greatest.
And how did the Knicks come back from 20 points down again yesterday? Like I don't.
Did they really? Oh wait. Yeah. Knicks won though, right?
Yeah, they were down 20. I was.
Oh, like, they were down. Oh my gosh, that's just how they have to win. They got whatever.
I was like, the series is over. Anyway,
this is a baseball podcast, guys. I promise.
What's this tier called and why is it called?
I mean, look, if they're called the Erics, I'm sure Eric would want to talk about them too. I'm like, they're called the Knicks. Like, I'm going to be in on that. All right,
of course.
This tier is let's go with the Chevy. Not Chevy. I'm so sorry. The Steven Seagal tier, because you never know what he's really going to do. And it's like, oh, Steven Seagal, that name and everything. And cool. But like, you just see him randomly in this thing. You're like, what? The end of his career, weird things with his acting career, Steven Seagal. Not going to get into that.
And now he just hangs out in Russia all the time. That's also weird.
Is that what he does? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Steven Seagal tier, guys.
Yeah, Steven Seagal tier. Yeah. I feel like we have talked about a lot of these pitchers constantly. So I don't know. We talked about Bubich a lot last week because he was the cover person. So I don't know if you feel like you have anything to add on these guys specifically.
Nope. It is weird that Spencer Schwellenbach got 20 whiffs, but it was 11 on the four-seamer, which is like, wait, hold on. You're supposed to be secondary first, which is a really fun phrase. And then you have four-seamers as a, hey, don't hit me. But nope. Now it's becoming the good thing, and the slider can't get more than 2 whiffs. Actually, both his home runs in that game were on sliders, down and into lefties. One was a really good one at 0-2 to Gavin Sheets that he just hit out. I'm like, what? And then the other one was a really bad one in that nitro zone. That was it for home run. That was it. It's just weird. Yeah. He should be good.
He should be. Chair number 5 starts with number 26, Christopher Sanchez. Number 27, Corbin Burns. Number 28, George Kirby. And number 29, Kodai Senga. What's this tier called? Why is it called?
Arnold Schwarzenegger. He doesn't miss.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He doesn't.
I didn't.
Okay, hold on. Sometimes he makes some choices that does miss on, but movies, he doesn't miss.
I didn't love Junior, the one where he got pregnant. That was a little bit of an uncomfortable watch, but it's just a real strange movie, guys. If you missed some of the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies in the 90s with Danny DeVito,
oh man, Last Action Hero is so good though.
Like Twins, where he and Danny DeVito play like twin brothers.
There's Kindergarten Cop.
Kindergarten Cop.
Who is your daddy, and what does he do?
There were a lot of times as a teacher that I was internally channeling the time in Kindergarten Cop where he just yells "shut up" at the top of his lungs, and I was like, I get it, man. I really get it. I really do.
There's Total Recall.
Great movie. Yeah.
Oh man,
Schwarzenegger, he hit, dude. He was great. He was really good. And these guys are all really good. Listen, Corbin Burns has kind of settled into this mid-20s ranking for you.
I mean, he might go higher because Corbin Burns, two things that's really just like, okay. One, secondary's improved. You got whiffs finally, right? And he has a good match against the Pirates, should be good, fine. But Saris went and talked to Burns, who said, yeah, I'm not trying to do that low vert cutter anymore. And he was like, oh, okay. I don't get it. I don't know why, because it's a lot worse without it. But without that drop to it, but that's gone. So now it's like, okay, just keep that low and please have those secondary whiffs. That's where I'm at with Corbin Burns at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you've been a really good pitcher like that for so long, I think you get the benefit of the doubt, and hopefully it works out. But who knows? It's not a move I would make from my chair right now. But I couldn't throw a pitch at all. So that's not my place. True number 6 starts at number 30, Jack Flaherty. Number 31, Sonny Gray. Number 32, Drew Rasmussen. Number 33, Ryan Pepio. Number 34, Clay Holmes. Number 35, Kevin Gausman.
I told you there was one.
Kevin! Number 36, David Peterson. Number 37, Will Warren. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
Okay, this is the Nick Cage one.
Oh, because
he surprises you.
Because it's just wild.
He is oh my gosh. Like there's sometimes you're like, oh man, that's some good stuff. Like, but then also with some of these, like Kevin Gausman, you see what they do and they do really well and you're trying to figure it out, and all of a sudden you see something and go, oh, it's a clue. Yeah. So did you realize this with Kevin Gausman? I know this is the one we're going to talk about. We got to do this because
I know. I just want to say to all the people listening, you're welcome. You're welcome. Because 3 weeks ago in my 12-team league, I dropped Kevin Gausman because I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Okay, this is one of the things that
and that was like coming off like 3 straight terrible starts, and I was just like, I can't. Yeah, I just can't do this in the shallow league.
I get this, Eric, but you got to understand that doing the list every week, there always are these situations that we don't know what to do. Alcantara's in it right now. We know this good pitcher is in here in this bottle, right? And it could very well just be there next week and everything is different. But I cannot tell you if that's going to happen or not.
Right.
And good luck figuring that out. With Gausman, this is the stat I put out on Twitter. Actually, I could have even added one more to it, but I'm just going to keep it simpler now. The last 40 starts, across 40 starts from the beginning of 2024 through through May 15th of this year, Kevin Gausman had 3 games, just 3, of at least 11 whiffs on his splitter. Just 3. Okay?
Saw that
in
tweet.
Both of today and his last game, he had 11 whiffs at least on his splitter. And I'm not just saying that out of thin air. Okay, he has it, then he loses, and that's it. Yes, but what was the quote after the previous game? It was that, hey, yeah, I checked in on my splitter grip and I realized that I had my fingers in the wrong place. and I had to fix that. And he got 4 to 5 inches extra on the splitter drop. Blah, and he had it again today.
I know.
And he dominated. And it's just one of those things of, right, we know how good Kevin Gausman I've been saying all of 2024, I'm not in because his splitter isn't getting double-digit whiffs. When the splitter gets double-digit whiffs, I am back in. He's done it for 2 straight starts with a very clear showcase of understanding it and return to it. And that means that this guy who destroyed your leagues actually in 2024 and looked like nothing different is suddenly way up the list at 35. And trust me, I get it. Be upset at me. You think it's not fair. Look at everyone else below and try to tell me that Kevin Gausman does not deserve that. Well, he should have been up last week higher. He had been doing this for 40 games.
I know. I get it. And it's frustrating because we've like vacillated back and forth in the preseason for being in on him or not, based on, is he having this cutter? Is he having the sinker? Is he doing? It's just like, okay, no, he just fixed the splitter, and like,
yeah, that was always gonna be the answer.
And I wish I was reaping the benefits, but I'm not, and that's okay. But also in this tier, a pitcher deserving some respect is David Peterson. I feel like for a long time we were waiting for the other shoe to drop on David Peterson's strong start to the season.
Yeah.
And for him to go back to quote unquote, that's just David Peterson, or him to be bumped from the starting rotation by Minaya or Frankie Montas or whatever. And listen, he has experience as a reliever, and maybe the Mets do decide eventually to do that. Who knows? This guy has been really good for 10 starts, just pitched a great game against a strong Dodgers lineup. And I don't care that the Dodgers are cold right now. Like, those are very, very elite hitters in that lineup. And if you're doing that to them, it deserves some kudos. And David Peterson looks really good.
Yeah, he's an interesting one because it's a 9% walk rate and about an 8 hit per 9 for 2 straight years now. I mean, 21 starts with that last year and 10 so far here in 2025. But David Peterson, to me, he really shouldn't have this high whip, right? That's the biggest knock, is that's a 128 whip right now. And I'm having this ranking saying, no, I don't think that David Peterson speaks to that, because it's 2 pitches, a fastball and four-seamer and sinker at 7.2 feet of extension that he throws in the zone. And those should be good at suppressing hits because of that. And then he also has 2 whiff pitches, and a slider and changeup. Also has a curveball that he's mixing in now too. It all makes sense. And for whatever reason, he has this higher walk rate and higher hit rate, and it still doesn't make sense in my book. Also, he's good at suppressing home runs. So that's why you see a sub-3 ERA in 2024 and so far in 2025. I think the whip comes down instead of the ERA going up. And I think he just has become a stable 6+ inning guy. I might be a little too high on this, and there was a possibility, and I really thought about it. I was kind of having him around 42 where Ranger Suarez is. But I wanted to say, look, like, you just got the Dodgers. I feel like a lot of people have David Peterson are not getting rid of this. And the real question is, am I going to regret it based on the whip, essentially, at season's end? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that the slider gets back to what it used to be, this big 25% swing strike rate pitch. And that means the strikeout rate goes back to that 27, 26%, or at least hints at that we saw in 2022 and 2023 for David Peterson.
Right. Also, remember that, like, it is still it's a better version of the slider than what we saw last year.
Yes.
And, I spoke to him much earlier in the season. But like, he made a point of just saying, like, this was the first offseason in like 5 years, I think, where he wasn't trying to get healthy, where he was able to just like work on being a pitcher and focusing on his grips and focusing on his delivery and his mechanics and whatever. And like, as you can attest to too, just in terms of the time it takes to do that, like that's not a small thing, right? No. Like, if you're spending your whole offseason just trying to be a healthy person and a healthy athlete, you're not able to make yourself better from a skill standpoint. And he's now been able to do that. And like, there's been some growth on the slider. It fell off a little bit from early in the season, but I believe it can continue to, get back there. the four-seamer looks a little better this year because of the extension, because of the location. It's still not a great pitch for him, but that is an improvement for him this year. And then like there was just some command improvements on the changeup, where like he's able to just get it in the zone more, which is just really important to righties. I just think there's a deeper arsenal of pitches here, a higher floor for David Peterson. And if we get the slider back in again, then I think that there's a little bit of the ceiling in there too. And I'm just not writing it off. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to get out from under it if I'm in a trades league and saying like, I'm going to get David Peterson. I'm going to get value while I still can't.
Yeah.
Quickly, we watched Will Warren.
Will Warren's looking great.
Well,
and
not
it
in his
feels
last
like
we didn't watch the
Will
Coors.
Warren.
We didn't watch the Coors start. But
no, but that one. Okay, Eric.
I didn't watch the.
He had a bad first inning. He got out of it for the most part, and then it was 57 pitches for 4 innings.
Mm-hmm.
He had 17 whiffs. It was a rain delay, by the way, guys. So he got ousted. 17 whiffs on 57 pitches is not an easy thing to do, guys.
Yeah, he looks really good.
Oh my gosh! So yeah, I mean, I even thought that he might not be good because of Coors affecting things. And we saw, oh no, his height adjusted VA was lower. Yeah, because Coors does that.
Right.
It makes it so that there's more gravity, which means there's more drop, which means it's steeper of a pitch. So don't worry about that. Things are good with Will Warren. I think this is such a great situation for him, and he's just going to get better as he refines this. So I'm on the Will Warren train now. Doubled up is what I like to call him.
Double dubs. I want to be in there so we can say B dubs, but it's just double dubs. That's fine. Moving on to tier number 7. Starts at number 38, Matthew Boyd. Number 39, Bailey Ober. Number 40, Ronald Acuna Jr.'s best friend, Nick Pivetta. Number 41, Lucas Giolito. Number 42, Nick Lodolo. Number 43, Ranger Suarez. And number 44, Griffin Canning. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
Oh, man. This one is going to be... let's just go with the whole cast of Fast and the Furious. All right, because there's like 7 of these films, 8 of these films, whatever. And they're just like, yeah, you're just helping out. You're doing the thing. It's not like you're not looking at those and saying, okay, this is the masterclass of everything amazing. And I'm sorry if you guys love Fast and the Furious, fantastic. They work.
They do
the thing. And they keep going.
And these guys work.
Yeah.
We're getting this oscillating Lucas Giolito, good start, bad start, good start, bad start. But hopefully the next start will be a good start and not go back to the bad start.
Oh gosh, the whole Lucas Giolito thing from last week. I hope that people understand also that I watched this not be like pumping my fist. I was actually like, okay, Lucas Giolito, you have some things to fix still.
Sure. And
this was one where I wanted a little bit more from his slider, really the cutter that he's throwing now. The changeup wasn't quite as pristine, but the four-seamer is, and that's the cool part. That's what has me still keeping him here, because that four-seamer as legitimate foundation mill pitch that is much better than it has been the past 2 years, mixed with the changeup that I think should be better in the next start, and a slider that I think is actually a better version of the thing that we've seen in the past.
For sure.
Is like, okay, cool. This is the foundation that I hold on to for the year. Like, he's going to have a bad start, I'm sure, in the next 3. Like, duh, everyone kind of does, but he will, and that's okay. I just think long-term here, from talking about for the next 4 months, I want Lucas Giolito on my teams.
And the benefit of the fact that nobody else on the Red Sox is going deep into games. And so they are going to let him pitch. If he's pitching well enough, like, he's going to hit 100 pitches, like, basically. He's got such a good situation
here. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that really helps in quality start leagues. Like, in the chat right now, people are dying for quality starts. Lucas Giolito will get us the length we need for most quality starts. Tier number 8 starts with number 45, Ryan Weathers. Number 46, Jackson Jobe. Number 47, Gavin Williams. Number 48, Matthew Liberatore. Number 49, Brandon Pfaadt. Number 50, Michael Wacha. Number 51, Merrill Kelly. And number 52, Landon Rupp. What's this tier called, and why is it called that?
I'll answer that one after this break. Look, if there's one thing I think about with Ethan Hunt, it is the fact that in the second Mission Impossible, he's just hanging off of cliffs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this tier is. This is the edge of the cliff. This is where I start to kind of think, all right, these are where the more the exciting guys are. Yes, there are some that you're kind of balancing with, say like Matthew Liberatore and Font and Waka. But it's like, I'm going to go for Ryan Weathers, Jackson Jobe, and Gavin Williams. I'm going to do this. And I think the one that I actually really wrestled with the most is Landon Roop, because there's a part of me I actually wanted him in the 60s and not here at 52. And it was really the perfect situation or a perfect example of you're either at the bottom of one tier or you're at the top of a tier 2 years later, because tier 9, he just doesn't fit in that group.
Right.
And it's why it's so important to understand that this is groupings and not numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's guys of tier 9 are their own element, and Landon Roop doesn't really fit with them.
Yeah. He's been the forgotten man a little bit, because I think, as we do with everything, when there is like a new something that gets all of our attention. And so now that Hayden Burnsong and Kyle Harrison are in the Giants rotation, and Harrison, we don't know for how long, as long as Verlander's out, whatever, but they've been the ones getting all the attention and not Landon Roop. And I still think that he's a really good pitcher, and he has kind of settled in a little bit more lately, where like a little bit of that early inconsistency, which I don't think is fully gone. Like, I think it is a little bit baked into who he is, but he has started to like be able to go a little bit deeper into games, like iron out some of the inefficiencies. And I still am a fan of what he brings.
I like it. I wish that the changeup, I mean, we saw the changeup develop a little more last time for Landon Roop, and that's a good thing. We want that, because the curve can be amazing. The sinker can be incredible. I don't think of him as an amazing pitch separation arm. So that means that I do need to see more variety to help out with what isn't ideal command, or at least locations a lot of the time. So I hope to see that over time. I do expect it. I mean, we have seen more changes, I just mentioned, also some cutters in the past. But Landon Roop, to me, still has that incredible curveball. And he has a little bit more reps than Harrison and Birdsong at this point for the year, which does give him a bit of a leg up in my view too. So that's why he's in this tier instead of the later one.
Ever since you moved Brandon Pfaadt up into like a really high ranking, just been dropping him.
The stupid curve will come back to lefties. What are you doing? I was so excited. I was so excited for Brandon Pfaadt throwing this changeup and curve to lefties. It was a better approach, and now it's just the changeup, and like that's what is going on, Pfaadt? Come on.
Lost feel for it. Speaking of losing feel for the curveball, we talked about this before we started recording, but I just urge everybody, like I got on a very good-natured Twitter back and forth about the Gavin Williams start today. And so I'm just it's fresh on my mind, but like you're going to see 6 walks from Gavin Williams in 4 2/3 innings against the Dodgers. And you're going to say, this is the same Gavin Williams from 4 starts ago. And it is not the same Gavin Williams from 4 starts ago. We need to acknowledge that. Yes, 6 walks aren't good. He was not crisp today. But the issue with Gavin Williams, the issue with Gavin Williams today was that the command of his sweeper and his curveball was inconsistent. So as he got into the 5th inning, now he was only at 60 pitches through 4 innings. Not great, but not terrible. Had given up 2 runs, struck out 3. Like, it was a totally fine, innocuous start against the Dodgers. He threw 42 pitches in the 5th inning. The Dodgers fouled off 10 2-strike pitches in 1 inning. 10 2-strike pitches in 1 inning. He had a 7-pitch walk to Shohei Ohtani. He had an 8-pitch walk to Freddie Freeman, an 8-pitch walk to Will Smith, a 9-pitch sacrifice fly to Max Muncy. And that was because he didn't trust the sweeper and the curve in this one. He was going a lot of 4-seam cutter in 2-strike counts, and they were getting fouled off. And he didn't want to throw a 3-2 sweeper or throw a 3-2 curve. He was throwing some of them 2-2, and they missed and got to 3-2 counts and whatever. And so, like, yeah, you can fault him for not having command of the sweeper and curveball. It was not a crisp outing, but he threw the cutter a bunch and pounded the zone with the cutter, and it didn't get hit hard. Like, no, it wasn't missing bats, but it didn't get hit hard. That gives him such a safer floor. And if he has just one of those breaking balls, which he usually does, he's probably out of that inning a lot sooner than he did. So then he got out of the inning. So like he gets the Angels next and then the Astros after that. Like do not use this 6-walk start to panic on Gavin Williams.
Yeah. And then what's going to be annoying too is hearing the full percentages and be like, guys, okay, sure. The whole rates for the year. I'm like, yeah, I get it. There's a 6-walk game with the Dodgers that is going to turn that. Let's say it's an 8% to a 9%, or this 9% now it's a 12% or something. I'm like, okay, great. But he's actually added the thing that should lower walks in the future,
right?
Which is this cutter. And that was over a 70% strike rate. And so just imagine before he would have been out before 5 innings, he would have been out of like 2 innings or whatever, 3,
yeah.
Because he wouldn't be able to throw anything for a strike. This is a better version of Gavin Williams. It's one of the cooler things about what we do, because we can just say, all right, what is it? Oh, nice. It's Gavin Williams, but it's a better version now. And we can actually believe that.
Yeah.
So that's all you should think about with this start moving forward.
And it's still a frustrating version. That's why he's in this tier where Nick said it's like hanging off a cliff, because you're not like, ooh, this is a great experience. But it's not the same. You're not plummeting off the cliff. You're hanging onto it. And that's a very crucial difference. Absolutely. If you're ever in that situation.
Yep.
Tier number 9 starts with number 53, Tanner Bybee, number 54, Shane Baz, number 55, Zach Gallen, number 56, Luis Castillo, number 57, Andrew Abbott, number 58, Tyler Mahle, number 59, Grant Holmes, number 60, Clark Schmidt, number 61, Zach Eflin, number 62, Jameson Taillon. What's this tier called? Why is it called
that? This one, I'm trying to make sure I get the right ones, because there are so many different kinds of action heroes and everything like that you can go for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, the best. The splits. So
well, that's the thing. A lot of people are split on these guys. And like, do you continue with Zach Gallen and Luis Castillo? Do you actually want to do Shane Baz or Tanner Bybee? Oh, Andrew Abbott. A lot of people are so in on that one. And I'm obviously more favorable towards Grant Holmes than others are. That is this tier. And I do want to say, you're probably shocked at the Shane Baz, aren't you?
What do you mean?
I'm at 54. This is an aggressive ranking for Shane Baz based on how well he's performed over the past.
Aggressively high? I mean, I feel like the last start was better. It was a step
better, but is it up to 54? In my view of this, I very much believe that Shane Baz was doing something. I don't know what, but that just made his pitches that should not be as hittable more hittable.
I mean,
I did not see that in this game for the first time in a month.
I wrote an entire article.
Yeah.
Last week. That was I mean, on my starting pitcher news column, I wrote about Shane Baz, and my takeaway, and we talked about this because I was doing the research like before as we were chatting about the last time on here.
Mm-hmm.
And my takeaway was just like, none of this makes sense unless hitters know what's coming.
Right.
Like, I can't explain anything.
Yeah.
So that's my takeaway too. With to be clear, with no information that he is actually tipping pitches other than it would be a rational explanation for what is happening. Other than that, I can't find a rational explanation.
We're just not good enough analysts. That's all we've got. No,
must be,
I do want to ask. This is a contentious tier. Is there someone inside of this 53, 54? It's 53 through a 62 that you feel is too high, too low, just not in the right spot? And remember, this is Tanner Bybee, Shane Baz, Zach Gallen, Luis Castillo, Andrew Abbott, Tyler Mahle, Grant Holmes, Clark Schmidt, Zach Eflin, and Jameson Taillon.
I would say nobody egregious, though I could easily see a case for Tanner Bybee being in like that Giolito Lodolo
higher
tier.
Yeah, now, he did just have a good outing. Unfortunately, the cutter wasn't great, and we saw some more whiffs. The command of everything was weird. It was one of those games where like you see bad pitchers have a good game and it doesn't make sense. This is a good pitcher have a good game and it doesn't make sense, right?
I know, and that's I'm still like I still think he's a good pitcher. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand the swinging strike rate is is bad right now. Like he's not missing bats. The pitches don't look as crisp as they were before, but I still think that he's a strong pitcher. And so I'm kind of like, I really do think that he should be a little higher than that.
Is Gausman doing this to you?
Maybe. Because you're going to write off Bibee. He's going to have great starts. I kind of dig what Grant Holmes is doing. Like, I know it's very BABIP driven.
Well, okay, with Holmes very quickly. Slider, I mean, I talked about this with on the craft last week.
That changeup
Grant
never
Holmes'
came
best
like
pitch
we
is the
thought.
curve. Like, actually, it's all of a sudden the slider, the pitch you learned last year, because the curve has not been that consistent offering. The fastball's had to do more than it has. It's actually better fastball, but because the curve isn't pulling its weight, and neither is the cutter. Actually, has tried to help out with this. It makes for a very weird moment for Grant Holmes. I'm in belief that the curveball will get better in time because it used to be so good for him. It was the pitch for ages. Right. And that's what I'm betting on. Even if the fastball gets worse, the new skill goes away. That's okay. That old skill should still make Grant Holmes better. That's where I'm on it, but that could very much go away. And it's not a good schedule for the next 2 starts, even though he did just get by against the Padres.
I thought the next start was a good one.
For Andrew Abbott. Sorry, not Andrew Abbott.
For Grant Holmes.
No, that is the next one for Grant Holmes.
Oh yeah, it is a good one.
It's Boston.
It's Boston. Have you seen the Red Sox offense lately? And I get
sometimes they're nuts.
I get that I'm a cynical
Arizona after that.
I get that I'm a cynical Red Sox fan, but that offense without Tristan Casas and Alex Bregman,
no one hates their offense more than the Mets fans and Boston fans. Let me tell you guys.
I think the Red Sox had 2 unfortunate injuries to 2 hitters they couldn't really afford to have injuries to, and I think it has led to a struggle offensively right now. And their at bats, in particular with runners in scoring position, are terrible. I'm starting Grant Holmes with confidence this week against the Red Sox.
All right, you heard it here first, guys.
Again, that's just.
And Andrew Abbott, how you on him?
I've never been a Giant fan.
That's just because you root for the Dodgers.
But okay. You could have gone with Bills. I was a Bills fan too, but I know it's a baseball podcast.
Football.
I know the minor league swinging strike rates were really good, and so that's why, like, when he first came up, I was like very interested in him because the minor league stats were really strong. And then I was kind of like, okay, sure. Like, nothing in here is great, but it's like, okay, I get it.
Right.
Like,
it doesn't quite.
There's nothing that stands out to me, and then you have the home park on top of it, and so I just can't. Like, it's like Nick Lodolo. I can at least say, okay, there's something more dynamic in him as a pitcher, as a swing and miss pitcher. I like the movement on his pitches a little more, and so it's like, okay, I don't like the home park, but I can talk myself into it. But even that doesn't feel good. And so then I take a step back in terms of what I believe is a step back in terms of talent with Andrew Abbott. And I keep the ballpark, and I'm like, it's a tough sell, man. It really is. Like, I don't see anything in there that makes me think, yeah, this is the pitch that's going to navigate, through that, through the rough sequences and through the poor stretches and through the home ballpark and whatever. But then again, like, he's delivering. So I don't know what to say. Like, at this point, like, I might just totally be misreading him, and maybe I just have to own that.
Right. I mean, with Abbott, he did increase his velocity to 93. But it doesn't really feel like a fastball should be living inside the zone effectively. You have a changeup that goes in and out. Like, some games is good, some games is bad. Maybe those two are doing enough, but it's not really with like excellent extensions, not with supreme movement, all those kind of things. There's also a curveball in the mix, but it's all just, it is, and it's not amazing.
You have the curveball and the curveball and the sweeper in particular to righties are both fine.
Right.
They're fine. The curveball actually to righties gets blasted.
Yeah.
78% ICR on the curveball to righties this year. He only uses it 13% of the time.
I was about to say there must be like only 7 or something like that.
71 total pitches.
Yeah, but how many in play? Total batters faced.
Five hits. That's
subtract the strikeouts and walks from total batters faced, and there you go.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
it's a tough tier. It's a lot of interesting things. Like Castillo, I think, is degrading. I think when it comes to stuff overall, this might be the only moment you can still sell. because I think it's good enough now. And I think it's just going to get worse with a slider.
And we've talked about Gallen a few times too.
Oh, and Gallen too. It's just Gallen's like one of those guys. Like I feel eventually like he should be able to make something work out of this because he's a vet and all. But boy, he seems like that guy you hold on all year, right?
My thoughts on Abbott are a little similar to my thoughts on somebody in the next tier, and so we'll just get to that one. But
all right,
tier number 10 starts number 63, Zebby Matthews, number 64, Kyle Harrison, number 65, Edward Cabrera, number 66, Hayden Burnsog, number 67, Noah Cameron, number 68, Ryan Nelson, number 69, Kate Horton, number 70, Shane Smith, number 71, Tyler McGill, and number 72, Dustin May. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
This is the Tom Holland tier because it's the youngin action star. Right. It's like all the guys like, oh, hey, he's swinging around. He's making jokes. He's doing the whole thing. Tom Holland.
I'm a Tom Holland fan.
Oh,
what pitcher in this tier do I have similar feelings to that I do about Andrew Abbott? Where it's working, but I don't know if I truly believe it or why.
Oh, okay. That's clearly got to be. Oh, there's so many you can choose here, though. I mean, for me, that's Hayden Birdsong. But I mean, he had that game today, which kind of showcases exactly that. For you, I mean, we've talked endlessly about Edward Cabrera, but we understand why not. So I'm going to go with, for you saying that, Shane Smith. Nah.
It's Noah Cameron.
Oh, really? Oh, he makes sense, though.
Does he?
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah. Do you need more? Oh, I'm so sorry. It's 90. It was 90, the 92 on the fastball, which is his worst pitch, but no, he does a really good job with the curveball, changeup, and the slider/cutter inside to righty.
Sure.
Like he actually manipulates exactly as you should with those pitches to right-handers. So I mean, I'm not in to for Cameron because I don't think that the fastball. I think the fastball is too susceptible, and I'm not sure how much I really buy into the consistent command that he's shown so far. But I do like the fact that he came back to the majors at 92. And the short term, it's a good matchup or two until Reagans or Lugo return, and that means he's out. If he actually is in that rotation for a while, Noah Cameron would be higher up, closer to where Rupe
I think he's out. I think he maybe makes one more start, and then he's out.
Because
Lugo and
I get that.
Reagans are both
I always hate making rankings based on he's gone in 2 weeks.
I get it. You have to rank for this week. And it's like, listen, we just saw this with Logan Henderson, where like it was inevitable Logan Henderson was going to be out of that rotation.
Yeah.
They have 3 starters coming back, if 4 if you count Nestor Cortez, who's going to be back a little later. And it's like these things are going to happen. The thing with Cameron for me, I like the slider. I get the slider. He also uses the slider up in the strike zone a lot to righties, which is interesting to me because I think he's doing that because he throws the cutter a lot up to righties. And so I think he's using the cutter off of the slider to righties a little bit. But anyway, I dig the slider. I don't like the fastball. The cutter itself is fine. The changeup has an 8% swinging strike rate. The curveball doesn't really miss bats. He uses it to like sneak called strikes. I think that this is, and if you go to the awesome, pitch app that you guys have, and you go to Kyle Bland's pitch chart, which shows like the color coded dots of the pitch mixes, and you see their movement profile and like where they are for their their release.
Did you see, by the way, the newest editions of the?
I did with the velocity that raises at the bottom.
The sequencing
That's
at the
how,
bottom?
Because I watched the Brian Bayo start live with everybody on.
Oh yeah, you texted me. I'm sorry, was
Friday
or something? Friday, okay.
On Friday, and we were watching it, and I was like, why is this slider 84 and then 89 and then 85 and then 89 and then 84 and then 90? And we were watching, and I was like, I think he is bringing the cutter back in. Like, there's no other explanation to why you're throwing an 84 mile an hour slider and then a 90 mile an hour slider. But that pitch flow is interesting. Anyway, the point to the Cameron thing was like, I think so much of it is deception. Right, the changeup and the fastball are released from like almost an identical arm slot movement profile. The changeup obviously has more arm side run. The cutter, the slider, and the curveball all come from like a similar release point and all attack similar spots in the strikes or similar areas with slightly different variations in speed and drop. And so for me, it's like it is so much about sequencing and mixing and matching locations and stuff like that, and he's good at it. And that's not a knock on him. I get why he's good in that sense. But to me, it's just like, I think as hitters start to see him more, like there's not a pitch for me that he has that I think, okay, if somebody's seeing him well, he still has that in the bag, and that's going to get him out of the situation. I don't think he has a pitch that, like, if his back is up against the wall, he's going to go to this. I think it's still just all about the manipulation of timing and keeping a hitter off the
that's
barrel.
all. That's how it goes at times with Toby's in general, or Holly's.
Yeah.
Where they aren't the stuff McNasty's, they're more of that. So Noah Cameron for me is kind of in that groove a bit. One guy I do really want to emphasize is Edward Cabrera at 65.
He looked good.
And I know we have talked about Edward Cabrera a lot, and we're going to talk about him here after this break. So Edward Cabrera preseason, like, I don't know, maybe he's going to be the thing. Last year we're like, oh, Edward Cabrera going to do this, going to do that. There's two things I got to mention about Eric Cabrera. This new version, okay? That you're like, Nick, I can't do this. He's had a 15% walk rate, blah, 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 blah. All right? Throw that away. Okay, forget everything you know about mattresses. Okay? Cabrera has had multiple problems in his career. 1, 4-seamers. Can't throw him for strikes. Can't do it. Just can't do it, okay? 2, not having a good slider. Really relying on the changeup and the curveball to get everything done. Well, let me tell you something. Edward Cabrera is throwing more sinkers now. And he actually threw a ton of 4-seamers last one. I'm actually kind of weirded out by it that he did as many as he did. I think it was on Sunday. But sinker was there and had a much higher strike rate. The slider that I've been shouting, please throw more of these. He threw 11 of them. Can you tell me how many of those were strikes, Eric?
I'm going to guess 8.
11.
Oh, wow.
He went 11 for 11 strikes. Oh my gosh. Okay, curveball was amazing as well. This was also 5.2 innings of 0 walks and 10 strikeouts. And then the 3-1 pitch was squeezed. It was a fastball for a strike. They called ball 4. And then he walked the next guy in a full count. And then he was pulled from the game. That was Edward Cabrera's start against the Angels. I know. No, not the most impressive lineup, but the fact that he's throwing strikes, has a sinker that he's throwing for strikes now, has the whiffs with his slider and curve. I'm saying he's at 65. I'm not saying he's like, oh my gosh, stop everything you do and go get this new mattress. What I'm saying is that Edward Cabrera should be taken seriously, and I believe he has a good matchup or two ahead. Oh my gosh. Edward Cabrera, get this. Next start, the Giants. Then he goes in George Steinbrenner Field. Then he goes into Nationals Park, Nation Capital. That is pretty good for Edward Cabrera.
Kyle Bland in the chat with this. This is the data that only Kyle Bland can bring people. Kyle says it's hard to get much better than 11 out of 11. That's true.
It's very true.
You did these rankings before today's start, but we got a really good start from Ryan Nelson. 6 2/3 shutout. It was the Pirates, but 84 pitches to get through 6 2/3 innings.
Take that all day.
We don't really have a set timeline. Last I looked on Eduardo Rodriguez, but we were just all spring training. You're like, Ryan Nelson should be in this rotation. If he's in this rotation, he's going to be one of their better pitchers. Blah blah blah. And like, maybe this is the window. Maybe it's cracked. Hopefully,
it's possible. This was a stranger one that he didn't have 7 feet of extension. It was a little bit less. It was an average height adjusted VA, but it was 19 inches of vert and 95-96. He kept that 4-seamer up, 76% strikes. The number one thing I keep mentioning with Ryan Nelson is you gotta have something else. Where is the other pitch? I've been banging the table for it to be this cutter. He threw 3 of them. 2 for 3 strikes at 90 miles per hour. Fine. But he actually threw 17 sliders here. And Ryan Nelson had some success with it. 59% strike rate. He got some outs on it. It helped him get through this one. He kept it at least down and away to right-handers. So he actually located that decently well. There was also a changeup, like 6 changeups, 5 curves, and 3 cutters, and 53 4-seamers. So that's still the area of improvement.
Sure.
And it's not much of a surprise that we saw 13 foul balls on 53 four-seamers. The general average, by the way, of foul balls is about 18%. Across all pitches, it's 18%. I believe Kyle can whip this up, but I imagine there are more foul balls for fastballs than there are secondary pitches, just because they see them more often and they're more willing to swing at them inside the zone and less inclined to swing them outside the zone where they would miss and not make as much contact. But long story short, if you add in a secondary pitch that is very worthwhile, you should reduce those foul balls, as we were talking about Gavin Williams before. You have a different timing that guys need to be ready for. And he's so close, right, Nelson?
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much put him here for this start. It was against the Pirates, right? And before I knew the outcome of it. I hope that Ryan Nelson's able to come through and figure that last piece of the puzzle, because the fastball is a very, very legitimate pitch.
Yep. Agree. A lot of interesting names here. Names, we definitely want to keep an eye on. I'm curious, just real quick, because I just don't think we're going to talk as much about the pitchers that kind of round out the list. But a lot of people probably are curious your thoughts on Kyle Harrison, since he's in the rotation for a short term. But just what do you see from him this year? Is he any different than what we've seen from him in the past? Are you interested at all?
Yeah, with Kyle Harrison, it's a brand new four-seamer. Oh, boy. Oh, my gosh. He lowered that arm angle. It's a 1.8 height adjusted VA, sometimes 1.9, which you don't know the reference point. That's okay. Just know that's 99th percentile flat attack angle. Think like Joe Ryan's.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pushed it to as high as 96 sitting in his start. We saw 94 in his first one. Fine. 94 at that is Joe Ryan's. And he also threw it upstairs a ton. He also is a little bit better with his secondaries now, too. I am getting Kyle Harrison everywhere. I didn't actually think he was going to start on Saturday. I saw it before I jumped in on the stream and got him everywhere. And then I was like, wait, hold on a second. He threw like 10 pitches,
like 30 pitches
on Wednesday. He's not going to do this. And then he still started. And I believe now he's going to be stretched out a bit more. So I'm excited about this. I really think that Kyle Harrison is better than Hayden Birdsong. I think the Birdsong is just chaos. And there are two types of pitchers. I wrote this inside of the list here. There are two types of pitchers that I don't like watching.
Okay.
First are ones who are just like, they throw strikes and it's just boring. Like, these are not exciting things. Like, yes, that's a strike. Walker Buehler kind of. Okay. Where it's just like, yes, that is a bicycle, but you're riding a bike. That's great. But I'm not going to want to ride that bicycle.
I want to ride.
Sure, like it works. It's true. That is a chair in that painting you made. I don't want to put it on my wall. Okay, that's the first kind, and the second are the ones who no one knows where the ball is going, and it's effectively wild types of just. It's not a pitcher surgically taking down a batter. It is a guy being like, "Cool, I'm going to throw a curveball. I hope it's in the zone." And that is Hayden Birdsong. As much as I don't want him to be, Hayden Birdsong bores me because I can't get attached to the at-bat.
Fair.
I just can't. And I don't trust guys who are like that at all. So I don't think that Birdsong is made to go 90 pitches in 5 to 6 innings with low walks or few walks and 7-8 strikeouts a game. I just don't think that that's what he's made to do. And yeah, I think that Kyle Harrison can just be like, here's a fastball here. Here's a fastball. Just pepper it endlessly. That sounds so good to me.
The whole rest of this podcast in my head will just be going, bicycle.
What I really meant to do was you drew a bicycle, but I don't want to put it on my wall. That's what I was trying to get to. Yeah. And I was like, that's a bicycle. That's cool. I don't want it.
I'm just going to sing Queen in my head the whole rest of it.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, that's okay.
Then you can do that.
Last, as we move on, listen, I know it hasn't been great for Cade Horton, but we said after the first start, the changeup looked good in the first start, and he didn't throw a lot of them. And as we get more MLB starts, he may start leaning into the secondaries more, and he's been throwing the changeup more. And I think it's a pretty good changeup. And he's got the changeup and the sweeper, and he's got also a curveball and a sinker and a four-seamer, and like it's raw and it is not clicked yet, and that's fine. He's like 23 years old. Like that's gonna, but there is a 5-pitch mix here that he can start to utilize to become a more well-rounded pitcher. And I'm sorry, but Ben Brown is a reliever, and Ben Brown could be a really good closer on this Cubs team. And I don't think it would be a surprise if Imanaga comes back and Brown goes to the bullpen and Cade Horton stays in the rotation.
Oh, that's how it should be. That really should be what it is. Because I was actually talking to the Cubs a little bit just about Ben Brown. And they've been trying. They've really been trying to make it so that Ben Brown is throwing a sinker or a cutter or something. They're trying to make the kick change the thing, because he's not a supinator. He's more of a pronator, but he can't. So it means like the cutter is kind of out, and it's hard for him to really command that sinker. So they're trying to make it with a changeup, but the changeup isn't a strike pitch. Like, to me, that changeup is more of that whiff opportunity. I'm like, no, this is why I lean in on cutters. I'm fine with sinkers. That four-seamer is just kind of left out to dry a lot because the curve can only do so much. And it isn't this reliable, I'm going to, you need something harder inside the zone really to be that effective. And Ben Brown just isn't going to get that. Cade Horton is a much more refined pitcher.
Agreed. And I'm still in on Cade Horton. The upcoming schedule is nice, so let's hope he delivers a little bit. We're going to move to tier number 11. We're going to speed through these last ones a little bit. We've gone long and we've covered a lot of, I think,
might go a little bit long in this podcast, which I have not said for a very long time.
Well, we haven't. I think that's more of a you and Fast thing. We haven't.
We did it a a at first.
Well, we used to go a lot true.
This is true. Earlier. Oh my gosh,
we're going long now, people. Tier number 11.
Tackle somewhere.
Number 73. Casey Mize, number 74, Tomoyuki Sugano, number 75, Walker Buehler, number 76, Michael Soroka, number 77, Nick Martinez. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
It's called Dwayne The Rock Johnson. It's pretty much just like corporate calls of we need somebody.
I do love The Rock's movies, man. I do. I really do.
Oh, man. He's just wears the same exact shirt in the jungle in every single movie.
Sure. Got to do it. Can you tell me why Walker Buehler's up 16 spots?
Walker Buehler is, 16 spots isn't really fair at this point.
Yes. He's up like 2 tiers, but whatever.
I do see him from the beginning of the year to now being a little bit more cool. This is what I'm going to do. Like, as we're talking about with the chair, like, here are the legs. Now I've got the hinges correct. There's no hinge on the chair, is there? I don't know. It's a folding chair. And
Sure. Yeah.
But right, there's a little bit more detail to it. He still has elements he needs to put together. I don't like that he's in Fenway. Which I think hurts him more than say like Giolito, but it's not. I'm not really excited about it, but I get it. I can see how this can be better.
Yep. Yay! Woo! Tier number 12. Starts number 78, Sandy Alcantara. Number 79, Jake Irvin. Number 80, Max Meyer. Number 81, Jack Leiter. How our boys look at what they've done to my boy. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
Oh man, this one is I had it in my head and I completely lost it. All right. This is going to be I'm going to go with back to my roots here. I'm going to go with Lawrence Fishburne because what happened to him here? And he was cruising for a bit and then it's just like, where'd he go?
Okay.
What happened?
Yeah. Where did these guys go?
Yeah. We know that they can just show up and be amazing, though. It'd be really cool. Like, oh, I went Lawrence Fishburne. It's just, oh my god.
Sure, Jake Irvin, whatever. But yeah, Max Meyer,
Jake
Jack
Irvin
Leiter.
sometimes get into rhythm, and he's doing it again right now. It's kind of fun, and it's I don't know why people don't understand this. He has good extension, 2 fastballs, he throws for strikes in the zone, and then the curveball is actually a very legitimate pitch, and it's kind of cool when it works. And I didn't believe it at first last year, but then I was like, oh wait, no, I understand it now, and I see glimpses of it. And sometimes he goes on a run.
The Max Meyer and Jack Leiter potential cuts are like really hard decisions for me because they're pitchers that I bought into early in the preseason in the spring training who looked good to start the year. So it wasn't just like, oh, I bought in and they started the year bad and you can move on. Like you bought in, you saw what it looked like and you were like, oh, okay, this might be a thing. And then it's taken a step back and then you're like, but are they going to adjust back again? Like, is there can we get back to where we were? Or, it's tough, man. It's like Jack and Lost. Like, we have to go back. We have to go back.
Yeah, Jack Zippo is not in the rhythm that we want him to be, right? Really, when it comes to Jack Leiter, you got to see the fastball upstairs, and you got to see the slider down for strikes. Those two are like the foundation for Leiter. Then we want Zippo to have the sinker inside to righties. You want to see the changeup working to lefties. You want to see maybe some curveballs in there too. Like he can get to that point, and we saw it before the blister. But then, what I often say is, I love young arms when they go through their adversity and then come out the other side. Yeah. We haven't gotten there with both really Max Meyer and Jack Zippo yet. They've had their success, fallen down. When they get back up and succeed, it's kind of what we're seeing with Jackson Jobe at the moment. Then I start to really like it because that means they can get through these adjustments. They can make these adjustments and get through these moments. So I think at some point we will be going in on it, but right now it's really tough.
Yeah, there's a guy in my home league who does really well every year, who basically like will pick up any rookie hitter that he wants, but like doesn't really touch that's actually not previous. He used to do that, but doesn't really pick up rookie pitchers. He calls them baby arms, and he doesn't pick them up until like their third year in the big leagues. And I know that he will miss out on some guys like, Paul Skeens, but I do think for the most part, it's probably not the worst strategy.
No, absolutely not. Dave Potts said this, and it will stick with me forever. Him talking about that NBC. He said, "I hate kids." And right, I get it. He just doesn't do that. When I draft my fantasy teams for hitters, I don't draft kids. I don't do it. I get it.
You shouldn't. I get it. I shouldn't. Team number 13 starts number 82, Jose Soriano. Number 83, Chris Pollack. Number 84, Brady Singer. Number 85, Jose Berrios. And number 86, Tony Gonsolin. What's this tier called, and why is it called
that? This is going to be the Harrison Ford tier because you know what? He's getting up there. He's getting some vets in here. He's getting some like, hey, that's a classic. But these days, I might want something earlier. I mean, we'll say Shrinking is amazing.
Oh my God. And he's so
Shrinking
good.
Is so good.
And
it's
so
it's
good.
A little painful for me, honestly.
Sure.
Because you can see that Harrison he's not there. He's not fully himself, but like he's battling it, and you just root for him.
Yeah. And they cast Michael J. Fox in the third season. It's gonna be so good.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm so ready. I'm so ready for it. Chris Pollack, man, another solid start today. Nothing exciting, but just solid.
I got a text from Jason Collect. He said, Chris Pollack, something I never thought I'd say, but Chris Pollack looked great tonight. He worked up fastballs and down with everything else. Command was the best it's been with the fastball. That's from Jason Collect, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah. It's like deeper leagues. Yeah, it's solid, man. It's solid.
There you go.
Big final tier here. Get my breath. Starts with number 87, Colin Ray. Number 88, Davis Martin. Number 89, Jeffrey Springs. Number 90, Jacob Lopez. Number 91, Lance McCullers Jr. Number 92, Chad Patrick. Number 93, Ben Brown. Number 94, Taj Bradley. Number 95, Gunnar Hagel. Number 96, Luis L. Ortiz. Number 97, AJ Smith-Shawver. Number 98, Dean Kramer. Number 99, Cade Povich. And number 100, Brian Bayo. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
This is the Game of Thrones tier because you have guys that come and go in that show. And you don't know who's going to stick around.
I like it. I do like it. We're going to do this one for Uncle Ted because Uncle Ted's in the comments, and just thank you for people who listen live and are in the comments and chatting.
Yeah, on YouTube, of course. We're almost, by the way, we're like at, I think it's 9.8 thousand subscribers. So please help us get to 10K.
Yeah, get that, push that over.
Close.
But Uncle Ted at the start said Jacob Lopez is awesome. And so he's in this tier. So I just want your quick thoughts on Jacob Lopez.
Jacob Lopez is kind of cool. He has 7 feet of extension and then is a lefty without the highest velocity, but he plays the X games of David Cohn's thing with 4-seamers and cutters away. I just think that's pretty cool. He's got a good slider that he throws down and glove side too. It's just been one start. I'm like, maybe this could work. We'll see. But I thought that was pretty fun, so I wanted to put him on the list.
And then I should also just ask you about AJ Smith-Shawver. Obviously, he had a really good run a few starts ago, and so I think he was a very hot commodity, and people were, big fans of his. And I think some people would be shocked to see him so low.
Well, if they read the roundups and everything, they would know that I don't really like AJ Smith-Shawver that much. Well, but I was like, fine, he has good matchups and everything, so we're gonna go with it. But yeah, AJ Smith-Shawver got burned by the Nationals. It's kind of the last start we really wanted AJ Smith-Shawver for. And what's so interesting about him is that he has a fastball that if he does actually spot it upstairs, I would like it. but he doesn't. He just scatter shots it all over the zone. And then he has a splitter that is so strange. And I still can't get over the fact that every start he has at least one, if not multiple splitters that have more vert than his four-seamer, which just doesn't make sense to me at all. It's not like it's a low vert four-seamer. So that's his number 2. And then his curveball is like, wait, I'm supposed to be the number 3? You know, it's that friend that says that you're their best friend. You're like, wait, hold on, what? That's not true. No, I'm just kidding. That never happens to me. And you have the curve that is not reliable at all, as is supposed to be reliable breaking ball.
Sure.
This is a pitcher who needs more polish. And it was nice of a run when he was going against bad offenses, but no, I don't want to hold on to this.
We don't want to end the show on a downer, though. So I'm just curious if there's anybody in this tier that you would like to end with a few positive words about.
Oh, always positive words. You got to have that. And, you know, I know the chat, as I was doing this, of course, was all in on maybe Dean Kramer getting onto the list. There's some fun stuff with Chad Patrick, who throws cutters and four-seamers, but unfortunately, he doesn't go very long into those games. Colin Ray could go against the Reds, getting to stroll down the Reds carpet, which is essentially facing the Reds on the road, is a lovely thing. Everyone pays attention to them until they then disappear. So yeah, some nice things there. I threw in at 100 Brian Bayo, your boy, because you know what?
Oh,
maybe.
But I know I hated that start so much. I hated that start. I hated watching it. Couldn't do it. Bad. I just like his changeup is so bad right now, and it's just like if he doesn't have the changeup, I don't know what he has anymore. I would just Maybe
there it is. Eric, what do you got working on right now?
Well, I got my starting pitcher news article coming out every Wednesday over on NBC Sports. Edward Cabrera is one of the guys I'll be talking about. You have to check it out to see who else. You can go back and read last week's. I broke down all of the pitch mixes for like the young guys that were called up. So the Zebby Matthews and Noah Cameron and guys like that. And then there was the What's Wrong with Shane Baz. So that's in there. And then every Sunday I do waiver wire column over on NBC Sports. And then every Monday, we took today off because of the holiday, but every Monday, James Schiano and I do a Q&A over on the Roto World YouTube channel, which you can also find tweeted out. That's at noon on Monday, which we do to help set your lineup. So all those things, same schedule every week. Come check it out. I have an article. We chatted about this because I asked your thoughts, your opinions. But I'm working on an article right now about feel. What is feel? How do pitchers internalize the idea of feel? How does feel go in and out? How can you regain feel? Do you know, because of the type of pitcher you are, if certain pitches you will have feel for or won't? I had some conversations this weekend with Griffin Canning, Clay Holmes, Ben Kasparius about it. And, we'll see who else comes into town and who I can, sneak in for a conversation. I am chatting this week with the Astros AAA pitching coach.
Nice.
I'll ask him about your boy Miguel Ulola.
Ulola. Yeah.
And I'm finalizing an interview with somebody in the pitching development staff for the Rangers, who works with these minor league guys on the way up. So it'll be interesting.
If only. That is awesome. And by the way, guys, something I decided to do today that I should have been doing a long time ago, honestly, is if you've noticed, if you watch me do the list live on playback.tv every Monday, the list is finalized before it gets published. I have the rankings done, and then I got to sit there and write the notes for like an hour and a half or 2 hours. So what I'm deciding to do is I post the list inside of our Discord before it's published. So if you want a sneak preview of the rankings themselves, knowing, of course, there's good reasoning and to understand that in 2 hours, you can get access to that with PL Plus or PL Pro. So go sign up today. Use podcast as your promo code. That is podcast in capital letters to get 15% off your PL Pro yearly subscriptions. And you can get early access to the list rankings every single Monday. But that, I think, is going to do it, Eric. What a wonderful holiday spending it with you.
And you, my friend. We made up for those short podcasts with a super long one today. I am Eric Samulski, the Pelican.
I'm Nick Pollack, the Lion.
And we'll check you next week on another episode of On the Corner. I'm going to go to sleep right now.